Welcome everyone to Widows Wednesday.
Hello.
Hey, how are you all? Well, I know from our last video, we talked about, connecting all of our little videos from our travels on the Mediterranean cruise and putting them all together and showing you guys where we were. Oh my gosh. We have to tell you what happened. So,
And what didn't happen, which was
videos.
videos. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Okay, you guys. So, yeah, we're back home and it is the beginning of spring here and everything is a disaster zone. This poor yard, we're looking around going, oh my gosh, the guy's cutting trees in the back from all the storms that we missed while we were away. But so while we were away, we thought, what fun. We got one video in because we were on the ship. Well, there was so much bad weather.
Yeah.
This was part of the issue.
Yeah.
When we looked online, to check out the weather, what's the average temp, we were like, oh, nice, mid-60s. Yeah, we're going to be toasty, because we're used to 20s and 30s here. Yeah, and then so that's how we packed. That's what we did. Then we showed up there.
Yeah, weather has so much to do with a trip like that, and
I don't even know what to say.
yeah,
it was
freezing, cold and rainy a lot, and the Mediterranean was rough. So,
I almost fell in the closet.
Yeah.
I was standing there and I'm like backed up and the ship was like this and doink, back I went. I was like, fall into the closet. Oh, it was fun.
And it was very physical, cruise. So we were come back to the ship after our forced marches, excursions. And we would just be really tired too. So that was part of it.
And we looked horrendous and we got rained on and it was cold.
All those factors played into our inability to deliver those videos.
To make videos.
Yeah.
I don't know if you'd really have wanted to see us then, because let me tell you, it wasn't cute. And so when we got to, where was it, honey, that it had snowed?
Oh.
Really? Snow? Venice.
Venice. That was the end of the trip, was Venice. But I think your favorite place was Croatia, right? Croatia
was absolutely gorgeous. And if I could go back anywhere, I think I would go back to Croatia because it really was beautiful. And I did want to touch on something about Croatia too, honey.
Well, Rick Steves calls that the gem of the Adriatic. Croatia, Dubrovnik, more specific, but
Dubrovnik, absolutely. Like this is Dubrovnik right here. I'll show you one quick little. I don't know if you could. Oh, can you see that? It's like a postcard, right?
Yeah, it really is.
I mean, when you think of the Mediterranean, this is what you're thinking of.
Right.
Not freezing. And I was wearing my socks as gloves, and so he called me a babushka. Really? I wasn't dressed right.
Well, yeah.
But it was, we had a great time. We have to say we had a great time. But yeah, we were like freezing.
Yeah.
But it's interesting because my mind, my brain is constantly rolling. And I was thinking about how good God is and how he has blessed us. And even in that, maybe every single circumstance isn't exactly the way that you want it or whatever.
Right.
But you have to look at the bigger picture, and the ultimate blessing that it was and the answer to prayer that it was.
Right. Yeah.
And something had happened in Croatia so it was pouring and they actually had so much water. It was the Krka National Park, and it's way up high on a mountain, and you have to go down these steep, or up the steep mountain to get to it. And wow, it was really crazy.
It was beautiful.
The ride,
beautiful, but it had been
steep.
So wet, and our guide even called it frightening. Yeah, because
The water
they
was
have
rushing
they
so
have
fast.
they have boardwalks that you walk across basically the streams, and there are no rails or anything like that. I think Europeans, they don't believe in anything like that. You know, in America, we would have to have everything child-proof, safe-proof.
Oh yeah.
But up there, you can literally
Hey,
walk
you're
off
going
a
over, you're
cliff
going
if you want. You
over.
know, it's up to you to be safe. But so we were on these boardwalks, and the water was so powerful, rushing down, and you know, I hadn't seen a waterfall like that except for Niagara Falls. It was really
Hmm.
astounding. And
It
so
was
there was,
amazing.
but it was raining lightly, and
We had done so much walking and my back was like starting to get fired up. I was like, oh, I need to like take a break.
yeah,
So the tour that we were with, which FYI, we were the only cruise ship
right.
that had,
First
we were
cruise
the
ship of
first
the year.
cruise ship,
Yeah,
yeah, to go
yeah,
into all these places. So,
right,
you know, it was on this place, it was mostly just our
right.
guys that
Right.
were there.
And
Okay.
we were given an hour's free time or a certain amount of time for free time,
Yeah.
but nothing was open. So the tour guide invited us to walk down with him. I think he said it would be like 200 steps down
200 steps
to
and
a
200 steps
bridge that crosses over the water.
and then two back. I
Right.
said, oh my gosh, I'm not doing that.
Right.
I'm like, babe, you knock yourself out
Right.
and go do it because I'm not doing it.
Right.
So I decided I'm going to stay on top of this thing, and those guys all went down.
Right.
My mind, okay, here I am on the top of a mountain in Croatia. Let me just remind you of something, you guys. When the Lord speaks to you through someone, to you directly, speaks into your heart directly, uses his word, however he does it, you know, his word doesn't go void, and what he says doesn't go void. So my mind went back to something that my friend Veronica had said to me. She called me and she said, Susie, you know, I had this, she was praying and she felt the Lord speak to her and she wrote it down. And I laminated it, of course, you know, and I've read it to you before, but there's a little line in here that when I'm standing in Croatia, it reminded me.
And she spoke this when on February 8th of 2017 is when Veronica,
yeah, I didn't know you then.
Right.
I didn't meet him till 2 months later.
Right.
So he wasn't even in the picture when
Right.
this was said.
Right.
So, okay, so it says, all right, I'll just read it. Good grief. Okay. I speak my peace on you. I am the Lord your God. I want to make clear to you and Sue that your husbands did not die due to sin. I had planned the length of their lives from the beginning of time. I knew the days. I had a different plan for you all along. My plan was for your husbands to be stepping stones in your lives. I had in mind for you to marry twice all along. I wanted your first husband to lay a foundation for your second husband to fulfill. The blessings I have for the two of you is to receive your husbands. My sons, in whom I am well pleased, will enter your lives soon. This is 2 months for me. Okay? The blessings I have for you are more than you can comprehend. The lives the two of you will live are different than you will imagine. The blessing I have for the two of you is that your husband will be the fulfillment of the plans I have for you. They will bless you to accomplish the will of your Father in heaven. Unbelievable, right? Well, when the Lord gave my husband scriptures 2 years before he was even diagnosed, can I just tell you, this was one of the scriptures. Psalm 138, verse 8. The Lord will fulfill his purpose for me. Your love, O Lord, endures forever. Do not abandon the work of your hands. The Lord told me later that that scripture was meant for me. And the blessings and the plan that God has, he says you will live a different life than you will imagine. I'm standing on the top of a mountain in Croatia, looking around. There is no one in sight. Not even these guys, because they were already going down the mountain. And I'm standing there, and it was so high, and the clouds were right there. I almost felt like I could touch heaven. And I just looked up, and I thought, God, this is more than I would have ever imagined. I could not imagine myself on a mountain in Croatia giving you praise and thanking you for everything that my eyes are looking at. I'm flabbergasted. And the beauty of all of that is, okay, that's something that happened with me. But God, this isn't just for me. It's not just for you. My life entwines with someone else reading this. Somebody else is involved here. You know, other people are involved. You, my love, is involved. But what I want you to understand is that God has something for you as well.
That's right.
It isn't just, oh, Suzie. No, it isn't. I'm his kid. You are his kid.
Yeah.
You said, Jesus, come into my heart. You know, do this stuff in me, God.
Yeah.
Do it in me.
Yeah.
And he wants to. That's the beauty of God.
Yeah.
He wants to make a difference. Was it, okay, hello, was it easy to get to this place?
No, it wasn't easy to get to this place. And
our brains are half the battle sometimes, you know?
No. Oh, what a great transition,
See?
honey.
I love you.
Yeah, you should do
You
videos. So, no,
crazy.
I've been reading this book, and I don't know where you're at, but I've had this book before. It's Joyce Meyer's Battlefield of the Mind.
Mhm.
And what got me thinking about this is that our church is starting to do a series based on this. So I said, you know what? I've had this book. I've never read it. So I just wanted to start reading it because, you know,
The whole way through, yeah.
yeah, it's just amazing how much God talks about our minds and our thoughts and how we need to capture those.
Get out of our own way.
You know what? That's a playground for the enemy.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and he's going to run in that playground unless you kick him out. I'm going to try to be quick about this because we're running out of time. The Proverbs 23:7 says, "For as a person thinks in his heart, so is he." Okay, are you struggling with negative thoughts? Okay, you know what? You don't have to. You can control those. You can take control of your mind. You can learn to recognize when you're thinking improperly, because if you're thinking improperly, Satan is going to cast things into you that you don't need. You're going to be fearful. You're going to be anxious. Sometimes you're not going to be able to sleep, you know. But it all comes down to confidence. Confidence in what God says you are and not what anybody else says you are, not what you say you are in your own brain even. I don't know what I am, but I'm learning.
Kind of taking
I'm
a
learning.
step, honey, right?
I'm learning. God's teaching me that he loves me.
Declare
that he's
it out.
so proud of me, you know? And so
I love it.
you can think the same way too. But start thinking.
It starts somewhere
properly.
and it starts up here.
That's exactly right.
So get yourself a copy of Joyce's book there.
Yeah, I highly recommend it. I've only read 3 chapters in it, you know. I'm a slow reader. But it's reading it and it's digesting it and putting it into life. I'm not going to let Satan tell me my worth anymore. It's got to come from God. It's got to come from his word. His word will tell you what your worth is.
Yep. And God wants to take you through this place of widowhood, widowerhood, you know. We don't have to stay. I know what it does. We know what it does to you.
Yeah.
But we don't want to stay there.
Right.
You know, if you stay there, you're encapsulating yourself into that awful place. God says, no, I see what's happening, but I can use this for good and give you a different life than you imagine.
And it doesn't mean that you'll be married again, but the place of widowhood doesn't necessarily mean, okay, you know, you're single now,
your
or
talent,
you're widowed.
whatever God's given you, whatever it is, God wants to use it.
The place of widowhood, I feel like, is the place of mourning, the place of sadness, the place of not being able to move on. So whatever God has for you, you know,
you want to get out of it.
Yeah, you want to
get out of that old. We want new.
Right.
We want what God has. That's what we want for you guys too.
Amen.
We're working on it. We want you to work on it.
Every day you have to work on it. Renew your minds daily.
Get into God's word. All right, you guys. God bless. We love you. And have a great day. Like and subscribe. Okay. Bye.
Bye.